Welcome back to my channel, The Coin Spot. Today is best top 2 coins, one you want to miss. We're diving into the world of United States coins. Please don't skip this video, so let's get it started. Top 1, the 2003 Canadian 1-cent coin, including its historical context, design, varieties, composition, mintage, and collector value. This long-form write-up will give you a comprehensive understanding of the coin. Overview of the 2003 Canadian 1-cent coin. The 2003 Canada 1-cent coin, commonly referred to as the penny, represents a unique and interesting point in Canadian numismatic history. Though the penny had been in circulation for over a century by 2003, this particular year is significant due to the transition between two effigy designs of Queen Elizabeth II and the continued evolution of minting technologies in Canada. The 2003 penny marks both continuity and change, capturing a moment when the Royal Canadian Mint, RCM, was modernizing its processes while honoring traditional Canadian symbolism. Historical context: Canada's 1-cent coin was first introduced in 1858 under British colonial authority and remained a cornerstone of everyday commerce for over 150 years. However, by the early 2000s, the penny's role in commerce was beginning to wane due to inflation and its declining purchasing power. The production cost of a penny was beginning to exceed its face value. Nevertheless, in 2003, the penny was still actively minted and used across the country. The year 2003 came near the end of the coin's era, as Canada officially discontinued the penny a decade later in 2013, citing cost inefficiency and redundancy in daily transactions. However, the coins minted in the years leading up to its discontinuation, particularly 2003, remain popular among collectors for their unique characteristics and varieties. Obverse design, front Queen Elizabeth II. One of the most noteworthy aspects of the 2003 Canadian penny lies in its obverse design, which features two different portraits of Queen Elizabeth II. This was a transitional year, during which the Royal Canadian Mint switched from the older 1990 effigy by Dora de Pèteri-Hunt to a newer, more mature design by Susanna Blunt. Dora de Pèteri-Hunt effigy, used from 1990 to early 2003, this design shows the Queen wearing a tiara, a profile that had become familiar to Canadians for over a decade. Susanna Blunt effigy, introduced mid-2003, this portrait features a more natural, tiara-less depiction of the Queen, reflecting a more modern and modest portrayal. Because both versions were minted during the same year, collectors can find 2003 pennies with two different obverse, making them highly desirable to numismatists. Reverse design, back maple leaf twig. The reverse of the 2003 penny continued to feature the iconic two maple leaves on a twig design, which had been in use since 1937. This design was created by G.E. Kruger Gray, a British artist, and has become symbolic of Canadian pride and identity. The two sugar maple leaves symbolize Canada's natural heritage. The design is accompanied by the 1 cent at the top, 2003 at the bottom center. Canada, beneath the date. This enduring image is one of the most recognizable in Canadian coinage and was retained until the end of penny production composition and specifications. In 2003, the Royal Canadian Mint produced the 1-cent coin in two primary compositions due to ongoing experiments with cost-effective and durable materials. Copper-plated zinc. Composition: 98.4% zinc, 1.6% copper plating. Core: zinc. Weight: 2.25 grams. Magnetic: no, because zinc is not magnetic. Copper-plated steel. Composition: 94% steel, 1.5% nickel, 4.5% copper plating. Core: steel. Weight: 2.35 grams. Magnetic: yes. Due to the steel core, the use of different cores means that some 2003 pennies are magnetic and others are not. This is another reason the 2003 penny is especially interesting to collectors and hobbyists. Mintage figures and varieties. The total mintage of 1-cent coins in 2003 was in the hundreds of millions, but when broken down into varieties and compositions, it becomes more nuanced. Varieties include 2003 with Pèteri-Hunt obverse, 2003 with Blunt obverse. 2003 P penny indicates plated composition, zinc or steel, introduced in 2001 as part of the mint's transition to multiply plated steel technology. Magnetic versus non-magnetic versions. Depending on whether steel or zinc was used, these multiple variations in a single year add to the collectability and value of the 2003 penny. Collector value and market interest. The 2003 Canadian penny generally carries modest monetary value in circulated condition, but its value increases significantly depending on its variety and condition. Circulated condition, usually worth face value to a few cents. Uncirculated/mint state, MS, 65 or higher, may be worth between 25 cents to $2 Canadian, sometimes more depending on demand. 2003p or transition varieties in high grade can command $10 to $20 Canadian dollars or more from collectors. Proof-like or specimen coins issued in special mint sets, these have a higher premium. Collectors often seek out the full set of 2003 varieties, making even minor differences more desirable. Availability in stores and the public. By 2003, the penny was still widely distributed and used in cash transactions. You would have received these coins in your change at grocery stores, gas stations, banks, and virtually every retail environment in Canada. Millions of Canadians used these coins daily, unaware of the interesting transition happening that year in the minting process. Today, 2003 pennies are still commonly found in old change jars, rolls of coins, and coin collections. They occasionally appear in circulation, though less frequently now that the penny has been officially retired. Collectors and dealers may source 2003 pennies from online marketplaces, e.g., eBay, Numista, Coin Community Forum, coin shops, coin shows, and collector events. Royal Canadian Mint Collector Sets. Conclusion: the 2003 Canadian 1-cent coin represents a fascinating moment in Canadian numismatic history with two different obverse designs, two core compositions, and a variety of minor distinctions. This seemingly ordinary coin has become a point of interest for collectors and historians alike. Though its face value is minimal, its significance lies in its place at the intersection of tradition and modernization. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a curious beginner, the 2003 penny is a small yet meaningful piece of Canadian history. Top 2. The 1979 Canadian 1-cent coin, including its historical background, design, composition, mintage, and collector value, all presented in long-form paragraph format, suitable for collectors, history enthusiasts, and researchers. Overview of the 1979 Canadian 1-cent coin. The 1979 Canada 1-cent coin, often simply called the penny, represents an enduring era in Canadian currency history. At the time, the penny was still an integral part of everyday commerce and had a strong presence in the pockets of Canadians. The 1979 edition is particularly notable because it was minted during a period of relative economic and political stability in Canada and continues the long-standing tradition of the maple leaf design on the reverse, as well as a regal portrayal of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse. While it may not seem exceptional at first glance, the 1979 penny has subtle historical, artistic, and numismatic qualities that make it a valuable piece of Canada's monetary story. Obverse design: Queen Elizabeth II. The obverse, front, of the 1979 1-cent coin features a right-facing portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, as designed by Arnold Machin, a British sculptor and artist. This effigy was introduced in 1965 and used on Canadian coinage until 1989. In this portrait, the Queen is depicted wearing a tiara, the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, which became one of her most recognizable appearances on coinage. Arnold Machin's portrayal of the Queen is youthful, elegant, and dignified, reflecting her image as a modern monarch during the mid-20th century. The design is surrounded by the Elizabeth II d. Regina. This Latin phrase means Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, a traditional style found on Commonwealth coinage. The inscription, combined with a classic portrait, preserves the strong constitutional and cultural ties Canada had with the British monarchy, even as the nation was establishing its own distinct identity. Reverse design: the iconic maple leaf twig. The reverse, back, of the 1979 penny continues the time-honored maple leaf twig design, which has been used on the Canadian cent since 1937. Created by British artist G. E. Kruger Gray, this design features two sugar maple leaves growing from a single stem. It has become one of the most widely recognized symbols of Canada's coinage, expressing the country's connection to its natural environment and its national emblem, the maple leaf. Surrounding the image are the following inscriptions: 1 cent at the top, Canada at the bottom. The year 1979 beneath the maple leaf stem. This design is simple but powerful, encapsulating Canadian pride, nature, and resilience in a single motif. It was used virtually unchanged for over 75 years, a testament to its enduring symbolism and public appeal. Composition and physical specifications: the 1979 Canadian penny was part of an era when coinage was still struck from metal alloys with intrinsic value. The composition and size of the 1979 cent remained consistent with coins from previous years in the post-war period. Composition: 98% copper, 0.5% tin, 1.5% zinc. Weight: 3.24 grams. Diameter: 19.05 millimeters. Thickness: approximately 1.45 millimeters. Edge: smooth magnetic. No, due to the copper-based alloy. The 1979 penny is made of almost pure copper, giving it a distinctive reddish-brown color. Over time, exposure to air causes natural oxidation, which can turn the surface darker or result in patinas of various hues, often appreciated by collectors for their aesthetic variation, mintage, and circulation. The Royal Canadian Mint produced a very large number of 1-cent coins in 1979, as the denomination was essential for daily transactions. During this era, cash was still the dominant form of payment, and coins were heavily circulated. Mintage: approximately 911,773,000 coins. This immense mintage figure means the 1979 penny is not considered rare in general terms. It was common to find several in a single handful of change for many years. Most of these coins entered circulation and experienced varying degrees of wear and tear. Although common uncirculated examples, coins in mint condition, or those in special collector sets have a significantly higher value to numismatists, especially if they are preserved with full luster, no damage, and sharp details. Collector value and numismatic significance. From a collector's perspective, the 1979 Canadian 1-cent coin is relatively common in circulated condition. However, as my coins, value is highly dependent on condition and rarity of varieties or errors. Circulated condition: typically worth 1 cent to 10 cents CAD. Uncirculated, MS 60 to MS 65 can range from 25 cents to $2 Proof-like or specimen coins may be valued higher, around $10 to $15 plus, depending on quality. Coins graded by professional services, e.g., ICCS, PCGS, NGC, that are certified mint state 65 or higher, MS 65, MS 66, etc., may fetch more significant premiums due to scarcity in that condition. Most circulated 1979 pennies show signs of wear, such as smooth details on the maple leaves or Queen's portrait. There are no widely recognized major errors or rare varieties for the 1979 penny, though some collectors report minor die cracks, doubling, or off-center strikes that may interest error collectors. Use in stores and commerce. In 1979, the Canadian penny was still a vital unit of currency, widely used in all forms of daily retail and commercial activity. It was accepted in virtually every transaction at grocery stores, department stores, gas stations, diners, and public transportation booths. People used the penny to make exact change, pay taxes on goods, and manage tight budgets down to the last cent. It was also common to receive a few pennies in change from every purchase, making them a ubiquitous part of Canadian life. Children often saved them in jars, banks handed them out in rolls, and every cash register had a coin tray filled with them. The penny's role wasn't just monetary, it had a cultural and sentimental presence in Canadian households. Conclusion: the 1979 Canada 1-cent coin is a small yet significant artifact of Canadian history. Though minted in the hundreds of millions and often overlooked due to its abundance, it serves as a powerful symbol of Canada's heritage both in its artwork and in its usage. With the beloved maple leaf design on the reverse and the regal Makin effigy of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, this coin stands as a testament to a stable and evolving Canada during the late 20th century. Today, while no longer used in commerce since the penny's discontinuation in 2013, coins like the 1979 penny continue to hold interest for collectors and historians alike. They remind us not only of past monetary systems, but also of Canada's identity, values, and the craftsmanship of its national mint. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe on my channel for more videos.